Okay. Rajesh madam, good morning. Am I audible?
Yeah, you want to ಕೊಟ್ಟರಪ್ಪ ಇನ್ನು ಇಡೀ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ 7 ಜನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಬಟ್ can you all see my subject in the feedback?
Okay. Good morning, Monica madam. Am I audible to you?
Yes, good morning.
Okay. I'm Professor Chetananand from Telecom Department.
Okay, fine.
We shall start at 10.
Yeah, we'll start.
Okay.
Okay, hi everyone. Good morning. This is Monica from CSCC Labs. So today in this session, firstly, I wanted to thank for giving this opportunity to us, and especially to me. So
Oh,
I'm very
madam.
grateful for this
Good morning,
opportunity.
madam. Monica, ma'am.
Yes, good morning, Rajeshwari.
Good morning, madam. Can we just wait for another 5 minutes? The session is at 10 o'clock. The participants are still joining. Shall we wait for another 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure. Then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
centrally located within a 5-kilometer distance from Kempegoda bus station and within 200 meters from the station, facilitating its students with the ease of transportation on a daily basis. EIT strives to education, creating and satisfying integral technical, engineering and managerial industry and of society in general. The Institute of various undergraduate degree programs as well as postgraduate MCA and MBA. Are currently 13 recognized research centers Vishwakarma Technology in the campus. Bangalore Institute of Technology has been a the academy. Students have secured various ranks every year, tallying to a total of 391 ranks from 1979 to 2018 under both Bangalore University and Vishweshwara Technological University. Bangalore Institute of Technology's 9 UG programs and MCA program are accredited by National Board of Accreditation. The departments of the institute are enabled with modern up-to-date labs and instruments so as to give the students a more hands-on learning experience and enable them to be industry-ready. Bangalore Institute of Technology has a good relationship with various industries and has a track of excellent placement record throughout its history. Leading companies like Cisco, Target Corporation, General Electric, National Instruments, Bosch and HSBC recruit our students. The management and staff of Bangalore Institute of Technology believe in a holistic approach to student development and hence various clubs in the cultural and sports sphere are encouraged and kept active throughout the year, giving the students an opportunity to participate in talks, seminars, events, debate, sports competitions and social service drives. Bangalore Institute of Technology has a very active alumni network, with the alumni being spread throughout the world engaged in critical roles in various government and private organizations. Alumni visit the college frequently and interact with the students through talks and seminars on various topics.
My name is Soumik Raha and I am an alum of EIT. Great deal of cross-pollinating faculty.
Okay, good morning, participants. Welcome to day 3 for the refresher program by AICTE and ISTE. And today we have speaker is Monica, and we'll be happy to have her for our workshop as a guest speaker. Now I request my colleague, Professor N.G. Girish Kumar, to introduce the speaker of the today to the participants. Over to you.
Very good morning, one and all present here. I would like to welcome for today's first session speaker, Monica Devineni. I would like to give a brief introduction. Monica Devineni is working as a cyber security analyst at CSCC Labs, Hyderabad. She has done a BTech in computer science. She has strong abilities in web application penetration testing, network penetration testing. She has a very huge experience with penetration testing methodologies. She has an hands-on technology professional accustomed to working in complex project-based environments. She has trained almost 100 plus students virtually on cybersecurity topics. She has greater than 2+ years of experience as a security analyst and domain expertise in penetration testing. On behalf of Department of Telecommunication Engineering and BIT and Rajya Vakil Sangha, we welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible now.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction of mine. So I guess everyone is clear about my introduction, but I myself want to give you my introduction also. So I am Monica, where I am working in CSCC Labs. On behalf of CSCC Labs, I'm here speaker for you today to have this session. And this session, we're talking about the DDoS. So, how many of you here know about the DDoS attack? No one? Generally, what is a DDoS attack? How does it work? Any idea? Any basic idea? Okay, 1 second. Let me share my screen and anyone confirm that is my screen visible or not. So is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. So yeah, what is DDoS? Generally, a DDoS is a distributed denial of service. So when we have DOS and DDoS, and there is a difference between the DOS and the DDoS also. So what is a DOS generally? A DOS is a denial of service, and DDoS is distributed denial of service. So generally, what is a DOS? When we say DOS, which is a denial of service, means we are attacking a system or a targeted machine. It might be network, it might be a single computer, or it might be a whole URL. So targeting one specific machine or a network. So and we are attacking it by sending a traffic where we are interrupting a normal traffic and we are continuously sending all the malicious attacks to that one specific targeted mission. So where because due to this attack which we are doing with a malicious attack, so what happens is it slows down the system where the targeted system where it becomes slow for them. It won't be available for the original user to work. So in the same way, where the DOS we are sending it from particular one, we are sending it from one particular network to other particular network. So it is from a single machine. So when coming to the DDoS, here the difference is we are sending multiple attacks, like from multiple systems. We are attacking one targeted machine, which is which becomes very slow and which will not be available for the legitimate user to use it properly. So the system, the network or the URL, whatever the target which we have specified, it becomes slow for them. So which won't work for them accordingly. So that is what the major difference is between the DOS and the DDoS. So today in this session, what are the all contents we'll know about is what is a basic introduction of DDoS and what is the difference between them, DOS and DDoS, and how DDoS attack works. What are the aim? What are the types of DDoS attacks that we have? And what are we knowing from that? And I'll also show you a small demo or one small sample of demo from this. Sorry. So what is a DDoS attack is generally where we are making online services, like as I specified you already, a particular URL or a targeted machine which we have decided to attack. So making that unavailable by overwhelming with multiple traffic resources. So sending multiple requests from a particular, from multiple systems to a specific system. So as this is continuously, uh, the traffic is being overwhelmed. So the normal, how the system, like if we'll take an example of URL, we have taken, so let me take as CSCC Labs URL. So my target is CSCC Labs and I have taken the URL. Now my target is to slow down the systems doing the DDoS attack. And how I do, if I do it from a single system, from my network, I'm doing it from a single system, that will become a DOS attack. So which will DOS attack is okay, which makes systems slow, but comparatively to the DDoS, so DDoS is very powerful and it is also illegal for in few countries or states. DDoS is not allowed, which we have. We need to go legally for all these things. So when I am sending it from multiple systems to that URL of CSCC Labs, the system becomes very slow, and that is not able, where CSCC Labs URL cannot work for a specific period of time, what we have mentioned for the DDoS attack. So until that time, it becomes very slow down, and no user in CSCC Labs can use that. So that is what a general, what is a DDoS attack is.
Excuse
But
me,
what
ma'am.
is the average of it?
Excuse me,
Yeah.
ma'am. Can you make it as full screen?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So continue. So what will be the average attack of this DDoS B is, it is about 50 Gbps, which is gigabytes per second. Can anyone know what 50 gigabytes means? It's a huge, so it is a huge attack. So where that is the reason why DDoS is not legal, or will have permission to do it on a single website, like on a website, not on a single website, on a website. So and if anyone wants to try a DDoS generally, if for a test purpose, for a demo purpose, for just learning 1-2 things, is fine. But there are limitations for DDoS where shouldn't do, where it becomes a crime for doing it, where we need to pay penalties or go around all these cases and all. But in US state, it is very prohibited that they shouldn't do DDoS attacks on any of the websites. And for the duration for this DDoS attack is not defined. It is we can do however how much ever time we want. It is not a specific time that there is only it happen if a DDoS attack is done. It doesn't have any definition for the time. Like it ends for 1 hour, it ends for 1 day. So there is no duration or a time for this. Most probably, the targets of this DDoS attacks will be the gaming industries, banks, news websites. Most targets are this, but we have targets along all over all the websites and all over the banks, and each and every website can be attempted by the DDoS attack. So, what is the effectiveness of this DDoS attack is by when we are by utilizing multiple compromised systems as a source of attack traffic. So, exploiting all these missions can also include other computers or other networked sources like any IoT devices. How can we do this DDoS attack? Is taking a multiple systems of a same network or of a different networks, and having sending a malicious code, putting a malicious code into it, where all this becomes bots. Now the systems become bots for us as it is containing a malicious code. From these bots, all these bots together will be called as a botnets. So sending a request from these bots to the system, so this will make the other system, the targeted system, become slow because of the malicious codes which are affected, where all the affected systems which are called as botnets are being sent to the targeted machine. So where a normal traffic is getting disturbed. Even from a high level, a DOS attack is like unexpected. No one can expect that this DOS attack is gonna happen. So which becomes a traffic jam where cloggings and all this come up with very high level. So preventing all this regular traffic from arriving at this destination. So all these botnets combined together going into the other system, which will be in very high level. So that is why when compared to DOS and DDoS, DDoS will have very high results, that is the reason why which will have a high impacts, and it is where the precautions, where could we prevent, like for incident response for this DDoS will be in very low rate. It can't be mitigated immediately. The preventions might not happen immediately. So that is the reason why DDoS is very, it is a crime. So what is the difference between the DOS and DDoS? Both are the same, but the level of participations of the systems and how these botnets are being included is different. So in DOS attack, generally a single internet connection to exploiters or any software vulnerabilities or any flood of target with fake requests is enough. That is which I mentioned, a single internet connection or a flood or any exploitation, or when we are taking it a vulnerability. We have different type of DOS and DDoS attacks. It's not just one type where we could give ping for the DOS attack, where we could give many others. We have many different kinds of which I have said, we have few types. So we have many types. According to the types, how we are performing and how we are using, it differs. So this is how a single internet connection is used to exploit. So how the server resources get exhausted. Here, distributed denial of service attacks will be launched from multiple connected devices, and that will be distributed across the internet. So all which are, as I said, which all these are called as botnets. With the use of botnets, we're going to do this attack. So that is the major difference between the DOS and the DDoS. How does this DDoS attack works? Guys, am I going fast? Is it okay to continue this, or do you want me to go a little slow? Confirmation, please.
Okay,
Am
it's now is in the right place.
I'm sorry, your voice is not audible.
The pace is yes, good enough.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Now, how does the DDoS attack works? As I said, for a targeted mission, as we are exploiting, we are attacking, what we need is a botnet. So here, these attacks will be carried out with networks which are interconnected with the machines. And this network will consist of either computers and any other IoT devices which are being infected by the malware, and allowing them to control all the attack it remotely. So these individual devices will be performed as a bots. As I specified, a single infected malware is specified as bots. So a group of bots where we are going to call them as a botnets. So as we are sending it not from a single device but from a multiple device, so we are considering it as a botnet. Once a botnet has been established and the attacker is able to direct this attack by sending remotely instructions to each bot. So here, whoever the attacker is, he sends the instruction to the each and every bot, and all together remotely with a group. When we say it is a group, it is a botnet. So each and every instructions for each bot is given by the attacker remotely. So how this get navigated is why the resource here is an attacker, because each and every bot is legitimate internet device and which will separate the traffic from the normal device. So that will become more difficult. That makes it become more difficult. So when beginning the exploiting, here the computer systems are making it them as the DDoS masters. So the master system identifies where the other vulnerable systems, and they will gain all the control over them, and they get infected by the systems with malware or through bypassing all the authentication controls which will be have been inbuilt. So then the resource person, the attacker, will create command and control for the server and to command the network of bots. So that is how where the attacker gives the instruction. The resource person who is attacker gives the instruction by this command and control server. He'll have all over the control on all the bots, and he maintains the server by commanding it. So now coming to how does DDoS attack works? How it will work is the person in control of botnets, where we are referring it as a boot master. Now the attacker who is controlling the bots is bot master, and so the main aim is to prevent the legitimate user from accessing the system or the site. The DDoS is done because for the main purpose where the DDoS is done and what result it comes is to prevent the legitimate user from accessing it to misinterrupt the functionality. So this is the DDoS attack, how it looks. Here the attacker, where he is having the control server, control on every server, like each and every system. The affected systems are these, and which we are calling as a bot. Each and single system here is called as bot, and all together are the infected botnets. So, and this infected botnets are sent to the victim server, and where it reduces, where it disrupts the traffic, and its functionality is where their functionality is not normal. It becomes slow, and where the legitimate user here cannot use it. Like it cannot how they normally use. They're not able to use it the normal way. That is the main target of the DDoS attack. Why does they do? So what is the aim? Why people do this DDoS attacks? What are the aim? There are many reasons why they do. Like because they might have anger on specific thing, or criticism because one have criticized them. So in the revenge of that, people do it for expressing their anger or criticism, or in the revenge of something else. Sorry. And they are training. This DDoS attacks can also be done for training, for knowing the other attacks, where they could find any other attacks by doing this. So training themselves for grounding what other attacks they could found, and distracting from other malicious actions. Few people do it for also distracting the malicious activities that that are coming in between and making them go forward. And anti-competitive business practices. Few do it also for money, for getting a bitcoins. We do say it as bitcoins. So for extracting the money from the a specific company, like a targeted mission, which is the XYZ company, so getting money from them, and also to disrupt all the operations of either a private or government enterprises, to not go in a flow, to disrupt their flow of operations. So they do also. It is not that only the attack will be done on the private. It is both for private and government, and each and every website can be vulnerable with this DDoS attacks. We can't tell that when our business is small, no DDoS attacks can be done. When our business is large, we have the fear of, we need to be afraid or fear of this DDoS attack. It's not regarding how small or how big, but each and every website, like each and every, whether it is a private, government, anything that can be attacked by this DDoS. So the main thing is that we need to be cautious. We need to be careful while taking all these precautions. Even after taking, as the technology is going on increasing day by day, there are many of the other things coming up with the new features and new things. So even how secure we are, we might get few flaws. We might miss few flaws due to some technology, like due to some problem, like today's technology is one and tomorrow's technology is other. We can't immediately update, but going there might be a little flaw for us to have this security. So we need to be careful day by day, each and every day, maintaining all the securities, whether it is a small or it is a big. Now, what are the different types of DDoS attacks that we have? Here we have three main types of DDoS attacks, which is network or volumetric centric attack, protocol attacks, and application layer attack. So we have three, which is network, protocol, and application. And what is the effective percentage of this is network is of 64%, which is high. And protocol is of 20%, which is medium, and application layer attacks, it is of 16%. So in overall 100%, these are the percentages where this DDoS in which level and or which type of attacks are happening more. Now coming to network or volume centric. I guess you guys know about this OSI layer. We'll have 7 OSI layer modules. I guess you are aware of it. Any answers? Do you know about OSI layers? Yes, no. Okay. So here we'll generally have 7 OSI layers. There are 7 layers in OSI module. So what are these OSI layers are? Application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. We have 7. So each and every layer will have its own process. What process does it do? How are the messages being sent or the emails? Let's take an example of email. We are sending an email from my from my email ID to other email ID. Let's consider it as a CSCC Labs and BITS College. So sending this email. So how is this going? Through all these 7 layers of OSI model. So when we are considering this, when I am sending, it starts from the physical layer to transport application layer. And when going there, it goes from application layer to the physical layer. That is how the transaction, how the goes. What does an each and every layer do is, here the physical layer will have a raw bit streams. with a physical medium of which are being attached for the email. Here, the data link layer. What does this data link layer do? It defines the format of data on the internet, in which the physical layers are in the bits, and here the data link layer, it makes into a format of the data. And in the network layer, here the path will be defined where this data will take, this will decide which physical path this data need to be transferred. Transport layer, here it uses TCP and UDP, which is transmission control protocol and user datagram protocol. So these two are the main protocols in the transport layer, and this TCP and UDP protocols, here they transmit the data using these protocols, these two main major protocols. What is the session layer? Here it maintains the connection, and it is also responsible for controlling the ports and the sessions. Presentation layer. What does the presentation layer do? Is it ensures that data is in a stable, is in usual like usable format, and is also it makes sure that the data is not going in a normal format but in an encryption format. It makes the data into the encrypted format. And application layer, what does it do is where human computer interaction layer. This we can call it as a human and computer interaction layer, where applications can access in the network services, where we are able to see our messages and everything. So that is the human interaction. So these are the 7 layers, which each and every layer have its own processing model, how they are taking a message transferred from one mail to the other mail IDs. So this is how the OSI model works. While we are talking about why are we using this OSI model here is each and every model, each and every layer in this OSI model is very important and useful where we come across. So in this DDoS attack, where are we having overwhelming a targeted device or network with some traffic that we are sending in. So these attacks can be divided into 3 categories based on, as I said, it is 1 through the network, application, network, protocol, and application. So we are talking now, let's talk about the network, which is also called as volume-centric attacks. So what are these volumetric attacks or a network attack? How does this go? See, this attack uses bots and botnets to flood the network layer with a substantial amount of seemingly legitimate traffic. Where here this category of attacks, we are attempting to create some, making it look like a legitimate, like a valid one. By where we are taking all available bandwidth between the target and the large internet. The 2 things we are using is internet and the machines which we are using like bots. Here we are sending a large amount of data to target, which are by using a form of amplifications or any other by creating some massive traffic from the botnets. So for each and everything, botnets are the common that we are using. Bots and botnets are by default this DDoS attacks uses, okay, where we are using it as a resource. We in the sense attackers. So here, what is happening? They are using we are trying it on the network. We use here wide range of or large machines or bot, we call it as bots. So we are using bots and the network, the larger network to send larger amount of data to the targeted machine, and which will here will consume an excessive amount of bandwidth or outside the networks, and causes network operation to become extremely slow and to not work at all. So when we are taking a specific network, what we are doing, we are sending it in a when we are sending, it differs for URL, it differs for the network. When we are taking a network as in target, so what happens, we use large amount of data, large amount of bandwidth, everything is going to a one single machine, one targeted machine. It randomly becomes slow. We can't even expect how even the website will cannot be opened sometimes. So that is how it becomes, which won't work at all for them. And this kind of attacks will be more difficult to mitigate than when we are comparing it from the single source attacks. So here, the mitigations will be there, but it is very difficult for us when we are using this network or volumetric to mitigate them. So here these attacks come also in various forms where we have user datagram protocol and internet control message protocol. These are the two various two types in the volumetric, which we can call it as a subtypes. UDP floods. So now here UDP is user datagram protocol. Here on the transmission layer, we use TCP and UDP. So here in this network, it is same as it is using the UDP, user datagram protocol. Here the random ports on the server will be flooded with this UDP packets and causing the server to repeatedly check for and response to which are non-existed in the application at the ports. We are specifying few ports randomly for the packets which we wanted to flood. So which repeatedly checks and responds like non-existing application parts, the result for this is it will not be unable to respond for the legitimate applications. The legitimate users who are wanting to use, it won't be available for them. Next, ICMP floods. What are these ICMP? Internet Control Message Protocol. Internet Control Message Protocol, where this name itself, it tells where the message or the controlling of the messages are being done here. So when this server is flooded with the ICMP echo request from multiple spoofed IP addresses. So as the targeted server processes and replies to this request, it is eventually overloaded and will be unable to process valid ICMP echo requests. Each and every message needs to have this ICMP packets. It is mandatory as the transport layer is using TCP and UDP. The TCP is the main protocol here, and UDP is also used based on how the transition is done, how the transmission is going on. So, but most probably TCP is being used. So, in the same time, for this message to travel, the ICMP packets are also useful, and this ICMP protocol is also used. So, when we are sending multiple ICMP echo requests for the targeted mission by spoofing the IP addresses. So, here the server because we are sending it from a different words, so here it can't frequently check. It needs to check and reply. So for the continuous process of this floods, it will be unable. It becomes overloaded. We can have an example like when BTech results, if it is not an autonomous, if it is affiliated to one specific university, and we need to check it online. What happens when we get to know that results are out? Each and it is not just 1 or 2 or 10 or 20. Multiple students in the college at a time go and request for the results or typing your hall ticket numbers, passwords, or however, whatever the process, you go and give the request. So what happens here? It won't be a few times when the results are out within an half an hour or 15 minutes, the system will be down. The server will be down. Why? Why is this? Because of this multiple floodings, like multiple requests which are coming for that particular machine, that particular server. So it is being overloaded and that server will become down. So that is how the process is. But the floodings, how we are sending it is by using UDP, by using ICMP or sync attack or slow LoRa's. The attacks are different, but the process is same. But using the networks or applications, by spoofing the IP, by putting a malicious code into it and sending it to them, is the ways we are using it here. Next, application layer attack. Sometimes we can call it as an layer 7 attack. So here what is the main goal of this attack is, as we have known that OSI reference model, which I have said, we have 7 layers, and here the 7th layer is the application layer. So that is why we can call this application layer as layer 7 DDoS attack. So the goal of this attack is to exhaust the targeted resources to create a denial of service. So these attacks that are being targeted by the layer, so that manages the HTTP and SMTP communications. Application layers mostly use HTTP and HTTPS. It mostly used, but there are few other communication means where it uses SMTP protocols and all. Simple message transfer protocol, SMTP is simple message transfer protocol. And there are few other, we have many protocols where we can be where it is being used in particular layer. In the 7 layers, each and every layer will use a specific protocol, and depending on the way also, but most probably application will use HTTP, HTTPS, and SMTP, where the port numbers will be for the HTTP and HTTPS will be 80 and 81, the port numbers. So that is why when we target a mission, we use a website. So most probably either it will be HTTP or HTTPS. So the ports by default will be 80. So this is the communication means. And here the targeted web application packets, in order to, we need to disturb them. So in order to disturb the transmission of the data between the hosts, the main target is to disturb the transmissions of the data between the hosts. So that attacks which are targeting this layer, where web pages are that will be generated on the server, and it will deliver by using the HTTP. The response will give either in the HTTP and HTTPS requests and response. Here, a single HTTP request, which is computationally very easy to execute on the client side, but it can be very expensive for the targeted server to respond to it. So as the server which is taking multiple files and running database queries in order to create a web page. So when creating a web page, we need HTML codes, we need JavaScript, and we need to have a database for a server, because as we'll have multiple logs or files that are being stored, and when the user wants to access it, we need to retrieve. So everything is maintained by the database that we know. So in order to create this web page, we need all these things. So when request is coming, it will be easy, but when going back for responding, it need to check in the database, it need to give the response, which will become very expensive for this for responding. Here, the layer 7 attacks, which is an application layer attack, are difficult to defend against. We can't defend against this. So it will become hard, and we can't differentiate malicious, which is a malicious traffic or legitimate traffic over here in this layer. So this type of attacks will be very sophisticated and are gaining in popularity than other type of attacks. So here the application layers are becoming more and more, because they have a wide range of gains in this. So considering an example, here we have an HTTP flood, the most common application layer attacks, where we are using botnets and forcing the target to expand an excessive amount of resources, because by sending the HTTP requests from from the botnets, which is multiple bots, so it need to check and respond back to us, where the responding of this for a HTTP request, it becomes excessive for a multiple requests at a time. So here, this is how it couldn't respond immediately back. And the HTTP floods and other application layer of DDoS attacks for this human user, which as I said, it is human user behavior, where we have that interaction, like human computer interaction is the application layer. So here the behavior of this making them more difficult. It makes it more difficult to detect when compared to the other types, like either volumetric or protocol. When comparatively, here the application layer is also difficult, but the most difficult thing is the network. First difficult thing is network comparatively to the protocol and the application. When we are having web-based emails or apps or WordPress, Joomla, when we are using all this type of softwares, here the targets can be specified easily, where the DDoS attacks. When we are saying DDoS attack, as I said, multiple ways. So web, we can have emails, any apps, WordPress, Joomla, any software. All these are the examples of the application for the specific targets. The sources of the application targets. Here, WordPress, Joomla, we are talking about all these. Apps, we know we have some URLs. Emails is like email ID, but this WordPress and Joomla. WordPress, they are having few common vulnerabilities here. Like when a particular website is using a WordPress, here it have few default things that it gives out, it displays, which are vulnerable and which are easy to attack. So here this WordPress, when we are having a website with a WordPress, it is easy as a target. Now coming to the protocol attacks. What is this protocol attack? What does that mean? And what are the goals? We can also state this as this protocol attack. We can also call this as an state exhaustion attacks, which causes a service for the disruption by over consuming server resources and of the resources where the network equipment are using, like firewalls, load balancers, and all. So we are calling here it is an state exhaustion attack because it is consuming more resources from the server. It might be either a firewall or load balancers. Each and every application, web application, will contain a firewall. That is a mandatory thing that we need to install and maintain a firewall in an organization. The main step where it protects from the outbounding traffic. By specifying few rules, here the firewalls are being maintained for every organization. It is not for a particular single thing, or we need to only maintain for a few things, but it is for each and every organization. When we are maintaining a website, we need to have a firewall, as everyone knows. So protocol attacks will target the connection state tables in firewalls. So most probably the protocol attacks are in firewalls, and where the web application servers and other infrastructure components are being included. When all these are being included in this, so this state exhaustion attacks, as it is one most common thing that we use in this is ping of death. It is a ping of death is also an attack where we use ping for a specific website, pinging it for a DOS attack, for a continuous DOS attack, where this ping in which 65.536, byte ping packets is defragmented and sent to a targeted server as fast as possible. So this is the byte 65.536 is the ping packet which is sent. By pinging a particular website, this is the byte that they are using and sending it to the target, and it sends as soon as possible. The time frame, according to the time frame we have mentioned, it sends accordingly. So what happens is this the very big amount of ping is going, which we call it as ping of death, because continuous the specific targets get continuously disrupted by this malicious code or an attack. So it makes the legitimate user to slow down. Definitely, when as I have given the example of the results which we are being seen. So when all these students are checking for their results, it is a normal form. It is a format or a process how they do. But if those systems, let's consider that those systems are bots now, which are injected with a malicious code and having control on them. So by giving a command here, they are being executed. So once at a time, thousands of systems are attacking a single server. What happens here? So definitely it slowdowns because it couldn't bear the traffic, because it is not a usual traffic that goes in a flow. So it becomes a slowdown and a burden where to stretch the details from the database. And once the target that are being reassembled, the target packets and other buffer overload typically occurs. Yeah, multiple targets going into where a buffer overflow also occurs, where the server is being overloaded. It's not just being overloaded, over and overloaded by multiple requests. In this scenario, as the target attempts to respond to the pings, even more bandwidth is consumed and eventually causing the target system to crash. So when using the ping of death for this DDoS attacks in this protocol, while sending multiple pings and multiple requests, as we are consuming more bandwidth, sometimes as the server is unable to respond, so the system also crashes where the data will be lost. The server will be down. It is closed. When we say it is crashed, it is completely closed with all the data or files, whatever are there within it, are being destroyed. So those are the three types. In this protocol attack, we can have synchronization floods. So each and every protocol, like which we have types of 3 attacks, in each and every attack, we use different types. See, in network, we have UDP and ICMP. And we have in application layer, the HTTP requests are being taken, where HTTP floods can happen. And in this protocol, we can have synchronization floods by acknowledgement. Everyone knows about this TCP handshake. How does this handshake work? Which is all this TCP handshake is also called as three-way handshake, where between two servers or from client and server, or let's take an client and agent. So for the communication between them, when the data is being sent between them, first the acknowledgement is going. From that, from a user to a browser, let's consider this. This will be easy for us to correlate. So I am the user and I am browsing internet, which is Google, is my means of source. So I am sending Google a data. So how has this data been gone? First, it acknowledges that what specific data it is. If I wanted to search about any institutes or any college names or list anything, so XYZ. So when I give that thing, it gives an acknowledgement to the server. It then once the acknowledgement is sent, here it gives an response stating this, yes, it is ready. So this is the three-way handshake. Once we give the say, like what, alert that the data is coming, we get the acknowledgement, and again the data is being sent. So this process of transmission, we are sending a data with an alert, getting a response, and again synchronizing the data. So this is the three-way handshake of the TCP: acknowledgement and synchronization. These are the two main parts that are being synchronized, acknowledge, and synchronize. Clear? Now, the DDoS attack. About the DDoS attack. These attacks, where it took place, what happened, and what about the DDoS attack we can know. See, the first DDoS attack took place on November 2016, and it was one of the biggest attack ever done on an ISPs. So the attack, which was huge magnitude of 200 gigabytes per second, in the attack which happened on November 2016, the huge magnitude was 200 gigabytes per second. It is a very huge amount. When this length of like this GBPS of 200 is going for a particular targeted victim, then definitely the system can't be open, which the server becomes slow down. And once if the time period is consuming more, if the time frame is more, here there is a chance for the system to get crashed. So this is the reason behind the recent slowing down of the internet experienced by the users around Mumbai, which happened in Mumbai. And because of this DDoS attack, an FIR was also filed against this with the Mumbai police. So that is why the reason where the DDoS is not legal, which is illegal or which is crime because of this. So be careful, because DDoS are not an open source tools or which can be easily done and which shouldn't be done. Even if you want even it is a project, even if you get anything, but the DDoS attacks is not included in any of the pen test. Either it is a network pen test or it is a web application pen test, any of the pen test, this is not included. DDoS is illegal, which is a crime. And by knowingly, unknowingly, even if we do, is also we need to face few circumstances which are unexpected. So please don't try this. So what are the symptoms of DDoS attack which we could know? So what are the symptoms once the DDoS attack is done, to know that if our system is attacked with the DDoS, what are the symptoms? Like what probably we'll know is the network becomes slow. It becomes definitely networks will be slow sometimes, but it is more than that. Way we couldn't even expect that why the website is suddenly not opening. So network performance issues and unavailability of particular website. The website will not be opened, and inability to access any website, and inability to access any website, and dramatic increase in the number of spam emails received. So this type of DDoS attack is considered as an email bomb. When we are using an email, if we wanted to send a number of spam emails that we have got in the application layer, where we have seen about the apps, emails, WordPress, Joomla. So this multiple spam mails are being sent. So this process is called as email bomb. So these are the symptoms that we could know: the network becoming slow, the website being not available for us, and we couldn't even open the website, and getting more and more spam mails. And all these are the symptoms. Now, what are the mitigations? mitigations of these DDoS attacks, or what are the careful actions that we need to take for this DDoS attack. The DDoS, distributed denial of service mitigation, it is a set of techniques or tools for resisting the impact of the DDoS attack, either on the network which are attacked or by we have means, either it is network, application, protocol. So according to the means that is being attacked to the internet, by protecting the targets and relaying those networks. And these mitigations will also require identifying the incoming traffic or separating it from a human traffic, like knowing bots and what are the hijacked web browsers, how these requests are coming. So identifying the incoming traffic. These traffics can be identified by using the firewalls. Firewalls are very major aspect as a protective layer for an organization. Here, the process is done by comparing the signatures and examining different attributes of the traffic, including the IP addresses and whether it is valid or not, and cookie variations, how the organization's cookies are there, and HTTP headers, and if there are any Java footprints that are able that we could check. So we need to make sure that we check all these signatures and the traffics, and writing rules for firewall is very, very important. When a DDoS attack is being done, that system is getting, the targeted machine is attacked by the DDoS, how we could immediately mitigate, what are the steps that we could be taken, is getting out of the network. First, disconnecting the network and checking how this what type of traffic has been has come across, like what is the incoming traffic and how much effect that this have, what is the malicious code with it, what type it is, whether it is by mails, it is by bots, or it is by web browsers, and comparing all the signatures and include all this IP address, HTTP headers, cookies, Java footprints, all need to be verified. And what are the mitigation stages that we have? We have 4 stages of mitigation. First, detection, diversion, filtering, and analysis. Detection. Detection, by the word itself, it means here the traffic flows and are being identified, whether they are normal or abnormal, what type of traffic flow it is. And diverting the traffic by using the DNS or BGP routings. So most probably we use DNS, which is domain name service, for routing purpose. So I'm going to redirect the traffic to any other. So that is the diversion. Filtering. This DDoS traffic, which has been weeded out while keeping the traffic, will be passed down. Like once the DDoS is done, we will, while clearing it, while filtering it, we need to check each and every IPs. As we knew how to mitigate it is by IP address is the major step that is included. So checking the same thing to clean all the traffic, we need to check each and every IP address. And analysis. Security logs are used to improve the silence. Like each and every logs are very main, which maintains a major role, which plays a major role in the database, because each and every files or logs will be stored in a database, and we need to have security for these logs also. Security for each and every stage is very important. From the initial point to the end point, we need to make sure that security is maintained for every endpoints, and checking and which are used, and we need to have this analysis by checking the logs and maintaining it accordingly. Those are the 4 major steps for the mitigation stages, that is detection, diversion, filtering, and analysis. This is a similar type of steps are followed for each and every security structure, like whether comparing it in PT or any other things, we have few stages which have same. How do the incident response occur? How do we do? Is the same steps: detecting, analyzing, filtering, and reporting or documenting. That is how the major steps will be. Here, the best practices for mitigation, which we could include, is anti-DDoS technologies and anti-DDoS emergency response services like Cloudflare, Radware, and Incapsula. All this, as we have an antivirus. In the same way, for this for the DDoS also, we have anti-DDoS technology where we could use Cloudflares or Radwares. We could install, and which will be helpful. One major step for helping. In the same way as antiviruses detect, we have few things like McAfee and the same thing. So this Cloudflare and Radware are also in the same format. So DDoS mitigation is also available through cloud-based providers. So user must install an antivirus and also the firewalls. These are the main mitigations which we could do by installing the antiviruses, and either the cloud-based providers also will be helpful, like Cloudflare, Radware, and many other things which are available in the market. And here the user must also install this firewalls. The first major step for the organization is installing and maintaining the firewall. For here the firewalls are used for based on the rules, it maintains the traffic flow which are coming, incoming traffic and outbounding traffic are maintained in this. Next, what are the myths we have? Like, what do generally an organization or a people in an organization think? So, is that correct or wrong? What myth do they have? And what are that? See, first thing is enterprises will believe that they are fully protected once they are having the cloud-based DDoS mitigation. We knew that we got to know a bit before that DDoS in the DDoS mitigation, cloud-based providers will be helpful. But having that doesn't mean we are fully protected. See, here the cloud-based DDoS mitigation only protects from the large volumes, and it will not protect it from the small, low or slow application layer attacks. So it is just a part that we could get better from the large volumetric attacks. It's not that once we are having a cloud-based DDoS mitigations, so everything is good. Our security is full. So this is one of the myths where each and every organization will have. What is the second one? Thinking that we will not become a target because our business is too small. No. That is a discriminant. So any organization, whether it is a big or small, will be in danger, experiencing the risks which are associated with the DDoS.
Hello, madam. Madam, you are not audible, Monica, madam. ರಾಜೇಶ್ವರಿ ಮೇಡಮ್
Sir.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಮೇಡಮ್? ಸಡನ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಏನೋ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಮೇ ಬಿ ಶಿ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಡೆಮೋ. ಶಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅ ಡೆಮೋ ಟು ಶೋ.
ಓಕೆ 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 ಓಕೆ.
Monica ma'am, your screen is not shared.
Girish, speaker has left the meeting. Maybe because of network issues.
ಸರ್
I think she rejoins, so you have to make her presenter again.
ಸರ್
Girish, Monica madam has not joined yet.
ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್.
Rajesh madam, are you in touch with Monica madam?
ಈಗ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮೇಡಮ್.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that I got disconnected. When did this happen? Can I just know?
Yeah, madam, I made you the presenter now. Madam, you were you stopped at I think you were supposed to give a demo.
Monica ma'am.
Monica ma'am, are we audible?
let me present my screen again
Okay.
for the demo. So I'll show you very simple demo. Is my screen audible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Let me open my.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible as well.
I'm opening my VMware. It is taking little time. Please bear with me until then. Is my VMware and everything visible?
Madam, we can see only the PPT.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, now?
Yeah, now it's fine, madam. We are able to see the screen, full screen.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll know how this DDoS attack can be done in different ways. So there is a website which is called GitHub, where we could get all our what type of attacks and what type of things we wanted to check in it. So with the GitHub, as I know it, I am just git cloning. So git clone is nothing but downloading a specific attack into our system and doing it. So I am git cloning this. So this is this thing, git cloning, https github.com zingachris.pentmenu.git. This is the link which we get in a GitHub. So once you go and sign into the GitHub, you will have many things like many types, many different types of things that we could do. So as we are talking about the DDoS attack, I'm showing you this. So now it is cloning into the pent menu and it is done. So while doing this, we need to be careful with the lowercase letters and uppercase letters also. So that little mistake will also not will not be able to download it. So make sure that you are using a correct thing. So cloning this GitHub into the into my colleague. So, it is better if we download it in some specific slot, like either in desktop or in download. So it that will make us little easy. So I have already done. So it is saying that it is already
Monica,
existing.
madam,
So
your voice, there is a break.
the desktop. So I am doing it is saying this menu path and checking. Give me a second. Is it all?
There is a between break in your voice, madam. Your voice is breaking actually.
Yeah, my network is getting fluctuated. I don't know what issue it is with. Really very sorry for this. How is it now? Stable?
Yeah, now it's fine, madam. Now it's fine.
Cloned our things into this, and our file name is the
Madam,
last one
hello.
here. Pent menu is the file name in which we have downloaded. So going into the
Madam, I think there is again a network problem. The screen is not visible.
I'm sorry. Oh.
I
Give me a
think
second.
if you make your voice proper, the screen is not a bandwidth problem, madam. I think.
Yeah, looks like that only. So I'm trying method one. Give me a second. I'll connect with the other one. Is it okay now? Can anyone confirm?
Yes, ma'am. Now it is okay.
Uh, sure. My screen is not getting shared. Yeah. Now is it visible also? My screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay then. So as we have specified the path and we have gone into the folder which we have downloaded, which is Pent menu, and we are checking the list in that whether our downloads is in it or not. So we can see it here. It is there, our Pent menu. So we are opening that /Pent menu to open the folder. So this is what the send menu looks like. In this, we have different things like recon, DOS, extraction, and view readme. So all these are there. So we are doing DDoS. So here we are taking the option 2 because we are doing DOS. Because from a single machine, from a single network to the targeted machine will be DOS, and doing the same from multiple machines will be the DDoS. So as it is the same process, but doing it from different system, and I'm doing it from my system, so I'm showing you the DOS. In this, we have many things: ICMP echo flood, ICMP black nurse, TCP sync flood, TCP acknowledgement flood, SSL flood, UDP flood, slow LoRa's. So everything is there. So now we'll take slow LoRa's, which is 9 option. And using Netcat for slow LoRa's attack, we need to get a target. Okay, let me take we have a demo, one demo thing. Let me check with that demo website. So yeah, we have this demo.testifier. So let me demo.testifier. Net. So I have set my target to a specific URL, and it is asking a port. And here it is has mentioned that your default is 80. Visible now? And I am setting my port as 80. And what are the number of connections to open? See, default 2000, we can give our wish, how many ever maximum we want, we could. So it is now after setting the connection to open, it is asking for the seconds, how much in time interval we want it to. Between 5 to 15. So I'll take it as 10. It is our wish between 5 to 15. And now using the SSL and TLS, whether we wanted to use this or not, yes or no. So we are doing it for demo. We are taking it as no. Slow LoRa's attack is ongoing, and this is the connection and interval as we have specified. It is 10 seconds. Now, when we check the website, see, now the system is not able to load. The Chrome thing is not available, I guess. But this is the process. Here it has shown that here the connection is being successful and the interval which we have specified is being done. So this is how we do a DOS attack. I have shown a sample for the slow LoRa's. The same will be for TCP floodings and all other etc. floodings. I have stopped this. Until now, any doubts? See here, once when I am testing, I didn't get the site. So it's saying that site is not reachable. So this is how it makes the server slow. Any questions? Please go ahead. Guys, any question? not, that's the end.
Yeah, Monica madam, I hope, I suppose there is no doubt been answered anyone.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
thank you. Thanks for this opportunity.
yes. It was a nice talk, madam. You gave a brief note on DDCS attack, DDCS myths, and what would be the problems that we face because of the DDCS attack. And finally, the demo session what you gave on showcasing about the DDCS, which was very informative, and we thank you for sharing your valuable suggestions for all the for all the attendees.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Rajeshwari, madam.
Okay. Participants?
Okay, Salinji, madam.
Yes. Okay, dear participants, we are going to close the meeting for 3 minutes, and I'm going to restart the meeting again. 3 minutes. You have to re-log in. We are doing it for the sake of generating the reports. We are going to close it now, and probably during the beginning of the next session, we'll send the feedback for the session 1. I request everyone to re-log in after 3 minutes. The next session begin in another 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.